While more and more Americans are waking up to the economic destruction and attacks on rights wrought by COVID hysteria, many politicians and bureaucrats still don't get it. Or maybe they do, and they're just massive hypocrites. Case in point, a school board in Arizona that just canceled the high school prom while at the same time planning a retirement party for one of the board members. Why is it that phrase, "you just can't make this stuff up," comes to mind? Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. It's the newest example of COVID crackdown hypocrisy coming from the Chandler Unified School District, CUSD, in Chandler, Arizona. And Chrissy Clark of The Good Daily Wire has given us the heads up about their wonderful work. Quote, the Chandler Unified School District, CUSD, in Chandler, Arizona, is hosting a retirement party for Superintendent Dr. Camille Castile. A concerned parent group told the Daily Wire that a reception will be held in Castile's honor, and each guest that RSVPs is allowed to bring additional guests. Guests will be bussed into the party using shuttles. Canceling the prom while they're doing their retirement thing for their board member. Gotta keep everybody safe. Awesome. Because nothing says we respect the tax slave quite like bureaucratic elites celebrating one of their own so-called public servants while at the same time canceling the senior prom. As Clark explains, the same school board that is sponsoring the retirement party has also canceled the district's high school prom and limited guests for seniors' end-of-the-year graduation ceremony. So let's get this sussed, as the Brits might say. This gang of deciders who control the direction of education, so-called, for thousands of kids and control the money that's forcibly taken from people for that so-called education, they're canceling the prom for youngsters who, even based on the CDC's inflated stats, are at a near zero chance of being infected by, spreading, or becoming dangerously ill from the COVID-19 virus. Meanwhile, these bureaucrats are holding a retirement party for one of their own.
What would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same and nothing that you did mattered? That about sums it up for me.
How worried about this so-called pandemic can they be? Indeed, one cannot make this stuff up. If one did, it would be seen as darkly comic satire, like something from the pen of Douglas Adams or Kurt Vonnegut, or a scene from Terry Gilliam's ingenious dark satire, Brazil.
That. Thank you.
And get this. Clark found out that though the CUSD board had set limits of 2 guests for the graduation, surely out of an abundance of caution, as the pablum pushers always say, their initial retirement party invite told potential goers that they could bring 10 guests per person. Quote, the initial RSVP for the retirement party allowed each invited guest to bring 10 additional guests, though a spokesman for CUSD told the Daily Wire that this was an error. The new RSVP allows 4 additional guests. And they make it even worse as they go along, these people. They make it worse for themselves. They allow 10 guests per invited guest for their retirement shindig. Out of an abundance of caution, no doubt. And out of an abundance of caution, the board slightly changed its restrictions regarding the ban on more than 2 guests for graduation. Or was it because of public backlash and because that term caution is actually malleable, useful for political ends, and virtually meaningless? Quote, The district initially limited senior graduation to 2 guests per graduate, though the number was bumped to 4 guests following parent backlash over the district's hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is just the start. Contempt for the taxpayers and kids seems to be a big part of it. Clark spoke to Jennifer Alvey, a parent of 5 children in the district. Quote, "We parents' frustration isn't that our school board is holding the events for Dr. Castile's retirement, but rather the glaring double standard of the board not being willing to also approve virtually the exact same logistics for our students' proms and graduation ceremonies, using the excuse of COVID risks," Alvey said. So while the members of the Chandler Unified School District in Chandler, Arizona vote for themselves and their retiring bureaucrat a big party, kids and parents are locked out of their own gathering, which is a perfect microcosm of government-run schools in general. While the school system lives on and its teachers and administrators get more taxpayer cash year after year, parents and taxpayers who don't have kids are shut away from their own money and the power to do with it what they desire. Certainly, if this were a private system, many dissatisfied clients would show their dissatisfaction by withdrawing their money and sending it elsewhere. The market would work. But in public education, there's no market. There are overlords who will continue to demand tax money even as they show such towering hypocrisy and disrespect for the people they plunder. Oh, and if anyone were still unsure about the disrespect the district autocrats show parents and taxpayers, Clark has another insight to offer. Quote, "In November 2019, CUSD came under fire for implementing a program called Deep Equity, which reportedly has a hostile attitude towards white people. The program was brought to light by Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who said that, quote, Deep Equity orders teachers, and we're quoting now, subquote, to explicitly reject and resist any parents who disagree with it. And sub, end quote. Is it any wonder why, even as their money still goes to the corrupt public school systems, so many parents are turning to homeschooling to get their kids away from such self-righteous, self-serving, tax-sucking apparatchiks? Hey, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We'd love to see you in the comments section. We'll see you all over the internet. And if you want to get to everybody at MRC TV and see what the whole team is doing, it's MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.